Madame Bianca, a beautiful woman of average size with a fierce look, was in her early 50s. Madame Bianca lived in a big mansion with 10 young girls who worked for her. She gave those girls to rich men in exchange for money. In return, she provided them with food, clothing, and shelter. The girls were loyal to her. One of them, Ene, was Madame Bianca's favorite. Ene grew up poor in Cross River with a widowed mother. Her father had died before she was born. To help her mother, Ene fetched firewood, washed clothes, and cleaned houses. Madame Bianca met Ene and promised her mother that she would send Ene to school and give her a better life. But when Ene arrived in the city, she discovered it was a lie. Instead of school, Madame Bianca sent her to men who paid money into her account. Ene could not complain because she had nowhere else to go. Over time, more girls joined and Madame Bianca became a powerful, rich woman well known across the country. One day, Madame Bianca gathered all her girls in a grand living room. The chandelier shone brightly, but the girls looked worried. Madame Bianca's face was cold with anger. "Who among you went to meet Alhaji Muniru last night?" she asked sharply. No one spoke. She shouted again impatiently. Finally, Dumebi, one of her trusted girls, stepped forward. I am the one, ma." Madame Bianca's eyes blazed. "How dare you mess things up for me?" Dumebi tried to explain she had been unwell, but before she could finish, Madame Bianca slapped her hard. Enraged, she ordered her men to drag Dumebi away and lock her in a dungeon in the bush for 14 days without food or water. Dumebi cried and begged for mercy, but her pleas were ignored. The other girls trembled with fear, their hearts pounding. Madame Bianca glared at them. "This is a warning. Anyone who disobeys me will not go unpunished. Now get out!" The girls fled in terror, while Madame Bianca sat back, sipping a glass of gin, her face burning with anger. A few weeks later, Madame Bianca sat in her elegant living room with a new client, Senator Bamidele, a powerful man known across the country. He wanted the company of one of her girls. She poured him a glass of red wine and said, "It will cost $10,000. The senator nodded without argument. "That's fine. I'd like to go with her now." Madame Bianca called 3 of her girls, Kathy, Sally, and Ene. The senator studied them carefully, his eyes moving slowly from one to another until they rested on Ene. "I'll go with this one," he said, pointing at her. The other girls quietly left, leaving Ene standing with Madame Bianca and the senator. Madame Bianca smiled coldly. "All right then, my senator. Please take good care of my girl. She's my eyes." Senator Bamidele transferred the $10,000 to Madame Bianca, then walked out of the mansion with Ene by his side. That night, in a luxurious 5-star hotel, Senator Bamidele relaxed in a white singlet and shorts, while Ene danced seductively for him. He was so pleased with her performance that after a long night of passion, he rewarded her with $2,000 and handed her his complimentary card. Ene, excited and grateful, hugged him before leaving the hotel the next morning. On her way back, she asked her driver to stop at a local bank. There, she sent part of the money to her mother in the village. Calling her mother, Ene said warmly, "Mama, please use this money to take care of yourself and fix the house. I'll send more soon." Her mother was surprised and suspicious. "Ene, how can a student like you have such money?" But Ene lied, saying Madame Bianca had given it to her. Her mother, still unsure, only prayed for her daughter's safety before hanging up. Ene returned to the car and rode back to Madame Bianca's mansion, pretending as though nothing unusual had happened, hiding the secret of her night with Senator Bamidele. Several months passed and Ene, now 24 years, decided to visit her mother in the village. She had lived with Madame Bianca since she was 17, and this time she wanted to go home with plenty of gifts. Madame Bianca allowed her to go but warned her to return in a week, reminding her that many clients always requested her. She even gave Ene extra cash for her mother. The next day, Ene traveled to Okuku her hometown in Cross River State. By evening, she arrived, and her mother, already waiting outside, ran joyfully to embrace her daughter. Tears filled her eyes as they unloaded the foodstuffs Ene had bought. That night, Ene enjoyed afang soup and pounded yam, sharing stories of life in the city. She lied to her mother, saying she had finished school, was working in a big company, and even had her own place. Her mother, unaware of the truth, prayed happily for Madame Bianca's kindness. A week flew by, and it was time to return. On her way back to the city, the bus she boarded broke down. The driver went to fetch a mechanic while passengers waited. Ene stepped out to stretch her legs along the lonely road. Suddenly, a speeding SUV burst out from the bush. Ene, distracted as she tried to cross, was struck by the car. She fell helplessly to the ground. The driver, Samuel, jumped out in shock. "Jesus Christ, what have I done?" He muttered, rushing to her side. He lifted the unconscious Ene into his car and sped towards the nearest hospital. In the hospital, Ene's head was bandaged. She had hit her head badly, and the doctor warned that it might affect her brain. Samuel sat in the doctor's office, worried and guilty. "Oh God, what have I done?" he whispered. But the doctor reassured him that she would recover with time. A few weeks later, Ene was discharged. Her phone was lost at the scene of the accident, and worse, she had lost her memory. She couldn't remember who she was, where she came from, or what had happened. Someone took her to his mansion where he lived with his maid, Mercy. He told Mercy to treat Ene with care and gave her a guest house to stay in. One day, someone sat with her in the living room. "What is your name?" he asked gently. Ene's eyes filled with tears. I can't remember anything," she said. Samuel's heart ached with pity. "I'm so sorry for causing you this pain. But do you remember where you were going that day?" She shook her head. "I don't know." Desperate, she tried to force herself to remember, but her mind remained blank. Samuel hugged her softly and promised, "Don't worry, I'll take care of you until your memory returns." Days became weeks and weeks turned into months. 5 months passed with Ene living quietly in Samuel's house, slowly adjusting to a new life she didn't understand. Meanwhile, back at Madame Bianca's mansion, trouble was brewing. A wealthy client demanded Ene, but she was nowhere to be found. Bianca's men searched the city and Ene's hometown, yet they found no trace of her. With Ene gone, clients stopped patronizing Madame Bianca, and her empire began to crumble. One evening, a new client visited Madame Bianca's mansion, requesting the company of 3 girls. Overjoyed, Bianca handed him 3 of her most beautiful and loyal girls. He paid her 15 million naira, and she was glad he didn't ask for any, unlike other clients. But the client had evil intentions. Instead of pleasure, he took the girls to his penthouse, where men were waiting to harvest their organs. That night, their lives were brutally cut short, and their bodies were dumped near Madame Bianca's mansion. The next morning, one of the girls went outside to throw trash and saw the lifeless bodies. A scream shook the house. Bianca and the men rushed out, horrified. "Oh my God, how come?" Bianca cried in shock. Quickly, her men carried the bodies away and buried them in the bush. Bianca was furious. She poured herself gin and boiled with rage. "Smart, I want you to get to the root of this. Find that idiot and bring him to me," she ordered. Smart nodded and left. Meanwhile, Anna was beginning a new life with Samuel. He called her gift, saying she was God's gift to his life. Their bond grew, and Samuel introduced her to his parents, who warmly accepted her as a daughter-in-law. Soon after, they had a quiet wedding, and life seemed beautiful for Ene. But back in the village, her mother wept daily. Bianca had told her that Ene never returned after visiting the village. The worried woman grew sick with grief, praying day and night for her daughter's safety, not knowing Ene was alive, but far away in another life. One day, Becky, one of Madame Bianca's girls, discovered she was pregnant. Furious, Bianca dragged her to the hospital and demanded an abortion. The doctor warned it was Becky's 7th abortion and very dangerous, but Bianca insisted. The procedure was done, but days later, Becky bled heavily and died. Panicked, Bianca decided to bury Becky's body in the bush at night. But at a police checkpoint, the officers saw the body in a car. She was arrested immediately. Under interrogation, Bianca confessed to all her crimes. She was sentenced to life imprisonment with ad labor, while the surviving girls were taken to a rehabilitation center to start new lives. Meanwhile, Anna's life with Samuel blossomed. She became pregnant and both were overjoyed. After 9 months, she gave birth to a baby boy, but during delivery, Anna passed out. Hours later, she was revived, and at that moment, her memory returned. She recalled her past, Madame Bianca, the reckless life she had endured. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she confessed everything to Samuel. But Samuel, filled with love, forgave her past and held her close. The following week, Anne, Samuel, and their baby David traveled to Okuko to see her mother. Her mother, who had grown weak from months of weeping and sleepless nights, was overwhelmed with joy to see her daughter again. Anna hugged her tightly, begged for her forgiveness, and explained how Madame Bianca had ruined her life. Her mother wept, cursed Bianca, but forgave her daughter. Together, they returned to the city to start a new chapter. When Anna later heard of Madame Bianca's downfall, she knew Nemesis had finally caught up with her. The moral lesson of the story is: this story teaches us that evil may strive for a while, but it can never last. Sooner or later, judgment would come. Greed and exploitation may bring riches, but they end in shame and destruction. Parents must be careful with whom they entrust their children, for one wrong decision can change a destiny. A reckless life always carries painful consequences. Yet, even in the midst of brokenness, there is hope. Life can give us second chances. Love that forgives and accepts, like Samuel's, can heal a wounded heart. Lies may cover the truth for a while, but only honesty brings true peace. And above all, the prayers of a mother are never in vain. God hears and answers in His own time. The end.